Hello everyone, Adam here with our first ever weekly stream recap. Hey guys, thanks for watching this first recap. Right off the bat, I'm going to say this feels really weird. I don't know why. I stream 6 nights a week for, 5 to 8 hours a night and have no problems talking to the camera, talking to the chat. But for some reason, doing a recording feels way stranger, kind of awkward. Maybe it's because I'm talking to no one, talking to future people though. So it's alright, doing more of these, I'll hopefully get more comfortable at it. So with this first video, if I say a lot, or if I look at my notes a lot, hopefully that will subside in the future. But anyway, the purpose of this video is to recap the previous week on the stream for a couple reasons. The biggest one though is I've gotten some feedback that when we play story-based games like Mass Effect 1, if a person is not super familiar with the game and they miss a stream or two, they may not come back for more episodes of that game because they will be completely lost. That's super understandable, and I agree with it. Not everyone has the time to watch the VODs to catch up. There are VODs there. If you would like to catch up using the VODs, you can always click on videos on the Twitch channel, and you can go look at any of the VODs. You can watch them at up to 2x speed. But even so, if you miss 3 days of Mass Effect, watching it on double speed is still going to afford you 10 hours of listening to Chipmunk Adam play Mass Effect. So anyway, hopefully these will help everyone catch up. We will talk about where we are in Darkest Dungeon, a little bit of stream stuff as well. But like I said, primarily it's to let everyone catch up on the story-based game if we were playing one at that time. What's kind of cool about this too is it helps me catch up. So things that I might have not thought about or that slipped my mind, or I might be rusty on what we learned because we've spent 3 or 4 days playing something else. All that kind of comes back into focus by doing this, at least I hope. So let's get started. We're going to start out with Mass Effect. So Mass Effect is basically a space opera. It is a sci-fi video game set in a couple hundred years in the future. I don't remember the exact date, but it is well into the future. And we start out as Commander Shepard. So Commander Shepard is aboard the ship, the Normandy, and we are scheduled to do pretty much what seems like an easy mission. It's basically a pickup mission. We are going to Eden Prime. Eden Prime is a super peaceful settlement of mankind. It's pretty much a beacon of how human civilization can be in space, right? So a paradise, Eden. And we are going there to pick up a beacon. I'll talk more about the beacon soon. However, right off the bat, we notice that we are in the most advanced human ship in the galaxy. We have a full staffed crew, not a skeleton crew. And we have a Spectre on board. A Spectre is basically an elite soldier, elite agent, the right hand of the Council, and I'll get to the Council in a minute as well. But suffice to say, things seem a little over-prepared just to go to a very safe planet and pick up a beacon. Another quick note about the Spectres, they are above the law. So they answer to no one other than the Council. Now, like I said in the beginning, I do have some bullet point notes. So if you see me looking away from the camera quite a bit on this first one, that is what's going on. I know a lot of YouTube videos try not to do that, and you probably shouldn't do that. But anyway, let's skip all that. Probably wouldn't have even noticed if I wouldn't have highlighted it and made it more obvious. But anyway, so we're on this mission to get the beacon from Eden Prime. Now, more about the beacon, like I said. So, 50,000 years ago, there was this super advanced species called the Protheans. And the Protheans, further than 50,000 years ago, they vanished 50,000 years ago from what we can tell. The only traces left of them are their technology and buildings and cities and stuff spread all over the galaxy. So, they were a super advanced alien race. They're basically the ones that are responsible for all the other races becoming as intelligent, or at least leapfrogging their technology in the way that they have, including humans in this. Basically, after humans went to Mars, we discovered some Prothean ruins, and using those Prothean ruins and the technology therein, we were able to basically start galactic travel, right? Interstellar travel. So, anyway, that is what the beacon is, and the main reason we are going to secure it is that we don't know what's on the beacon. It contains some sort of technology or at least knowledge, and it could be weapons, or it could be, you know, it fell in the wrong hands. Now, the galaxy isn't in like a war state at the moment, but there are definitely like war, you know, factions that don't like each other. There are battles and small wars and things throughout, you know, like it always is on Earth. So be it in the galaxy as well. So anyway, we don't want it to fall in anyone else's hands, so we are going to pick it up. So when we land, right off the bat, we are under attack by these robot forces. Now, the robots are called the Geth. And the Geth, basically, we find out, were made by another sentient biological race years ago, and became sentient of their own, and basically rose up and nearly exterminated their masters. And pretty much, though, they stay out in, like, you know, the far reaches of the galaxy and don't really bother anyone. They definitely don't come this far in. They definitely don't attack colonies. So that's pretty weird. But right off the bat, we are in combat hot zone, and one of our members dies right off the bat. So Jenkins, Leroy, dies right off the bat. The funny thing about it is, when we were playing the game, we were talking to him on the ship. He was like, man, I don't want to go on this silly mission, this pickup mission. I want to get into combat. I want to see some action. Well, Jenkins, you have seen action for about 3 seconds. So Jenkins dies. And in this game, you get to pick what your character does, and it has some effects in the game. I am playing the character like I do all of these. I am playing it as if I am this character with his background in that role and what I think he would say if it was me in that role with all his history, right? So I am not choosing the options I know are the good guy options, the hero options, or the bad guy options, and there are those, or the medium options. I'm just choosing what I think is, you know, what would be chosen in that moment. So we get the choice to bury Jenkins or leave him. And even though, like I said, I'm overall a good guy, we're getting attacked, so we leave him right off the bat. Our first decision is to leave one of our squad members behind. So anyway, and the Geth were created by the Quarians, but we'll get into those a little bit in the future. So the Spectre that was with us, he landed and went first. We find his corpse, and there is a witness there that tells us that Spectre was actually killed by another Spectre, which is very strange because the Spectres work together or as a solo unit, but either way, they work for the Council. So a Spectre killing another Spectre raises some questions right off the bat. So anyway, we keep going. We end up killing the Geth that are trying to secure the beacon, and we get too close to the beacon, and it basically overloads our mind, explodes, and leaves us with some sort of strange vision. We don't know what the vision is at this time. We see bits and pieces of it. It looks like a machine race that is just destroying humankind, basically. So there ends what I would say is probably the prologue. So the next part, we leave it. Excuse me. I should probably edit that out, right? No. We're doing it live. Anyway. The next part is probably what I would say is chapter 1, and we go to the Citadel. So the Citadel is this huge space station. It's where the Galactic Council resides. There's also 12 million or so aliens there, just living there. It's like an enormous city that's just floating out in space, pretty much. It's very elaborate. This was made by the Protheans, and in fact, it's one of the things that the first alien races, well, I mean the first of the Council, discovered and really kick-started their advanced technology. So we go there and we seek counsel with the Council, and we tell them that this, what the eyewitnesses said, that the Spectre named Saren, who's a trying to remember the alien type. My bad. I should probably practice. Turian. Again, this is completely informal, I suppose. Everyone watching this as a regular of the stream, you know me by now. Anyway, they're a Turian. And Turians are one of the 3 races that are on the council. There's only 3 races on the council so far. And they do not believe us for multiple reasons. One, because they think a Spectre would never do this. The Spectre not only killed another Spectre, but seems to be working with a Geth, who, as we know, are a robot race, a non-organic based life form. So the other reason they don't really believe us is that humans are relatively new to the galactic stage. So a lot of aliens don't trust us. They see how we are on Earth and how we were in early travels in the galaxy. And aside from all that, some of them seem a little PO'd that we already have an embassy at the Citadel. So we are not a council race or a member of the council, but we have an embassy there. And a lot of the alien races do not even have an embassy. So a lot of aliens are PO'd that humans are getting this treatment, and they think we are growing too fast, we're too headstrong, and they are probably right. So anyway, they do not trust us. Now, on the Citadel, we go through some side quests, some mini quests, we do some different things. There's some pretty funny things that we did. We meet a bunch of alien races, and then we start basically building a team. Now, as we build a team, one of the team members that I'll get to in a second gives us proof, irrefutable proof that, you know, Saren is working with the bad guys, or is a bad guy. So this recording, you hear Saren and Asari, which is the blue people. If you see it in the screen behind me, or if you watch any, the blue alien race. In the recording, it's a sound recording, not a video. He is talking with a matriarch from the Asari about finding the beacon and finding things to bring back the Reapers. So we then learn a little bit about the Reapers. The Reapers are supposedly a robot race that destroyed all sentient biological life forms, including the Protheans, 50,000 years ago, and then vanished. Now, a lot of people in the game seem to think that they're not real, because there are no signs, there are no remains, there are no, like, Reaper ruins, there are no giant Reaper robot corpses, so to say, or ships or anything. But history that we have found so far, and that the aliens have found, seem to show that these Reapers, these robots, did destroy the Protheans. So anyway, we don't know why, but Saren and this Asari matriarch, which is very strange, we'll get more into that in a second, are basically trying to call on the end of sentient biological life in the galaxy again, even though Saren and the matriarch are sentient biological life. So again, it's a little bit confusing at this point because we just don't know the motives, but that's what I like about it. That's one of the things I've liked about Mass Effect so far. So the council agrees, and we say Saren must be stopped, but the council says yes, but we can't send. It seems kind of weird. They're like, no, we can't send anyone. And we're like, send your fleet. This is urgent. You know, the galaxy could be destroyed pretty much, or life as we know it anyway. And the council's like, yeah, maybe, probably not. And we can't send a fleet. And so a member of our team is like, wait, make Shepard a Spectre, raise him above the law, and send him out to get Saren. And I'm like, yeah, send me. I'll stop him. So that's what they do. They make us the first ever human Spectre. Now our superior, Anderson, who was with us at that time, he had a chance to be a Spectre, and Saren actually back then basically sabotaged him and made it so he did not get accepted as the first Spectre. So we are now the first ever human Spectre. So that ends, I think, what I would call chapter 1. All right. So really quick, that I will catch us up on our crew members. So in Mass Effect, you can have up to 2 crew members aside from yourself when you go on to missions or whatnot. Now, all of them are in your ship. It's important to note as well. When we become the Spectre, Anderson hands over the Normandy. It is now our ship. From what it seems, he is retired, basically, or is going to end his career, doing paperwork and things, unfortunately. There's probably more to it than that, but that's what we know so far. So Ashley is one of our first members. She is a human woman. She seems to hate aliens. She's with us right from the beginning. She's actually already on Eden Prime when we land, and already fighting the Geth when we show up. And makeup intact, though. Eyelashes on point. I don't know if she has time to do her makeup with all this combat going on, or if maybe in the future there is some sort of permanent. I know there's permanent makeup now, but I don't know. This goes beyond. Anyway, so we have Ashley. We also have Caden, who is a human male who has biotics. And biotics are basically almost seemingly magical powers, but it uses things like the mass effect. It basically uses physics, right, to bend things to their will. So he has an old version of the biotics. It's basically has side effects. He has really bad migraines and some other things. Caden seems pretty vanilla in the beginning, but we have started to learn that he was basically taken from his family, and he may or may not have been turned into this biotic thing on purpose, and he was put into a biotics training facility academy thing as a kid. So we're learning more about Caden. Garrus is a Turian, same race as the Spectres that we were talking about before, and Turians are one of the members of the council. So we meet Garrus. He's basically a cop on the Citadel, and he's tired of being a cop pretty much. He doesn't like to work in all the bureaucratic, he doesn't want to go beyond the law, but doing all the paperwork and staying in line completely no matter what. He's kind of sick of that. So that's one of the reasons he goes with us. We also have Tali. Tali is the Quarian woman who gave us the recording to show the council that Saren is a bad guy and that he's working with a matriarch. Now, the Quarians are the race that rose the Geth to sentience on accident. So she is from that race, and we'll get into their races a little bit more, but she's one of the ones that we're mainly taking with us at the moment. We meet Rex. Rex is a Krogan. The Krogans have a pretty sad story. So Krogans are kind of like Klingonish in a way. They're very battle hardened. They want to fight. They want war, and it's a kind of a sad story. I guess I'll get into it really quick, even though we're going to talk more about the races in just a minute. But basically, so there was an alien, of course, alien. There was a bug race, kind of like the Zerg or the Tyranids or something like that were discovered, and it was a galactic war. They could survive in space. Their homeworlds could be toxic. These things could survive anything. They had like a swarm mentality, and they were going to destroy everything in the galaxy. We tried to reason with them. We tried to have peace with them, or we didn't. But the council, the galaxy, whatever, and they just wouldn't listen, and they were destroying everything. Now the Krogan, who were kind of like, I don't know, toadish type things, battle toads. They are super hardy. So they were basically brought up by one of the council races, and they to stop this alien, the Rachni, I think, to stop them. Now the Krogan are super hardy, so they could survive in those homeworlds, in those toxic places, and the Krogan were winning, and they multiply super quickly. So they were overwhelming these other aliens and beating them back. And we beat them back to their last homeworld, their last bastion, and we tried to get them to surrender, and they would not. So the Krogan literally killed every last one of them. They drove them into extinction. Now, that's not quite the sad story. The Krogans were basically made to be what they are as far as how fast they could reproduce and I don't know if they were brought into sentience or not by this, one of the council races, but basically they were made to, multiply and take out this bug race, right? But then the Krogan, who just want battle, they don't want to settle. they don't want to make colonies. They are refined to a couple worlds, and they're pleased to be able to spread through space, are denied because the council, rightfully so, probably thinks they're going to take over at some point. And so the Krogan are like, well, screw this. We'll take our own friggin' planets. So the Krogans start attacking nearby planets, start taking them over. And the council's like, well, I guess we should bring someone in to kill those Krogans. But they don't just stop there. They basically, I think it's called the genophage. They basically use a weapon, a biological weapon, on the Krogan that make it to cull their numbers. And they're basically being driven into extinction. And so the sad part is the mortality rate of the infants. So only about one out of every 1,000 births results in a living baby Krogan. So 999 infants out of 1,000 die for this race. So that's pretty harsh, I would say. But anyway, so that's Rex. He is a Krogan battle master, I think it says. Liara is the last member of our team. At this point, she's not on our team yet. She is an Asari, one of the blue women. She is 100 years old, which is young for an Asari, we find out. They become matriarchs when they are 1,000 years old. The matriarch that is working with Saren is actually Liara's mother. We'll get more into Liara in a moment. One interesting note is, I guess you would call them female, even though they don't really see male and female because they don't have gender. They just are one. But outward appearances are female to humans, and they don't really mate. They meld. They sort of mind meld and create an offspring based on the information they get from the, I guess, I don't know. They're probably the host, but the person they're melding with themselves. All right. So chapter 2 is really short. Basically, we get to choose from a few story missions. We choose to go find Liara, which is who I was talking about. So we go to find her because she is the matriarch's daughter, and she's also doing scientific research. So she is doing research on the Protheans and races before them. And she's at a temple. She basically tells us that she believes Protheans were not the first super advanced race, and that just like we have used the Prothean technology to boost ourselves forward, the Protheans used a previous race to boost themselves forward, and on and on and on. So she's searching for information at one of these Prothean temples on some backwater planet, pretty much. And of course, the Geth attack. So we had a really hard fight, and I died lots of times. If you use exclamation deaths in the channel during Mass Effect nights, you'll see that so far in the game, I've died like 22 times or so. Combat is not very intuitive. It's hard to control, especially the keyboard and mouse, and controlling your teammates. Now, I know that's kind of an excuse, but it's a pretty legitimate one. It also doesn't help that I'm completely newbie to this game. But anyway, we died quite a bit. We ended up saving her. She joins us. She seems really like rigid and kind of naive though at first. Not really childlike, but she's definitely spent a lot of time alone. She says as much. She basically has spent her entire life, her 100 years or so, or maybe the last 50 or so of it, looking for or researching Prothean technology by herself on remote worlds. And she's basically seen as a baby to them because they live for so long. So that's pretty much all that chapter. We did explore a bunch of planets while we were there. We rode badly. I drove around really badly in this rover thing on some worlds. We got destroyed by a giant worm. I got out of it at one point on a toxic environment, started getting weak, and got headshot from like 3 miles away by some alien. So we had a lot of fun finding Liara. But we did find her on, of course, the very last planet that she could possibly be on in that section, but that's fine. And we have moved on to chapter 3, which is Noveria. So we are not done with this chapter, so this is going to be even shorter. But basically, we go to Noveria, and it is a super cold world. Think Hoth, maybe. And it is basically used for scientific research. So mega corporations basically put these less than... I don't know. We don't know for sure if these things like go against the law or what, but it seems that way. They basically put these scientific research places into the giant mountains there, and they pay lots of money for it, and they pay lots of money to keep it secret. So we go there. The reason why is that we find out that the matriarch is there, And not only that, but the matriarch and Saren both are huge investors in some of the biotics companies, research companies there. So we go there to find her, track her down, see what's going on, see why she's working with Saren, and we run into some resistance, but it's more like bureaucratic resistance. You know, they won't let us go. We don't have clearance, even though we're a Spectre, and the like owner there is getting super rich on all this stuff. While we're there, we do some silly side quests like smuggling in some contraband for like a jellyfish alien and some other things. But aside from all that, that's pretty much all we've done. Now, in order to get to the mountain facility she's at, we have to get a rover. And a Turian guy is willing to give us a key for the garage to get one if we help him. And he wants us to get proof that the owner of this place, or at least the front man for it, is dirty. That he's, not doing business as you should, so to say. Lots of under the table shady deals. So that pretty much catches us up on the story. That went a little bit longer than I thought it would, so I'm sorry about that. But I think that catches you up completely on the story itself. Now, the only other things to really note is the Asari. They are the blue aliens. We talked about those a little bit before. Solarians are one of the other council races. They, unlike the Asari, are short-lived, and they live fast and they think fast. They're very smart, but they tend to be a little bit quick-acting, a little bit too quick-acting, impulsive maybe. The Turians we talked about before, that's the third council race, and they're like the peacekeepers. They are an autocratic society. They kind of remind me of the Protoss, maybe, from StarCraft, if you guys know that. Protheans we talked about, that's the ancient race that, we find their technology and they got wiped out 50,000 years ago. We run into the Elcor, which are these space Eeyores. They're monotone and they communicate by smell. They have learned language, though, but because they are so monotone, they always say what their sentence is going to be. So there's something like, inquisitive statement. Are you going to stream tomorrow? So they always preface things with what the tone is going to be because they have no tone. The Geth are the robots made by the Quarians we talked about. Hanar are the jellyfish people, and they worship the Protheans as gods more than a race because the Hanar were brought to sentience through the Protheans directly. Keepers are these weird mantis-like creatures that keep the Citadel running, and no one knows much about them. Like, no one, not even the Council. We just know, leave them alone. Let them keep the Citadel running, lest 12 million people die. The Krogan are the sad frog boys. Quarians are basically the gypsies of space. They made the Geth. The Geth usurped them, took over, almost led them into extinction. So now they travel through space as nomads on a collection of ships. And their society is pretty interesting, but we're just scratching the surface of that. The Volus are these mole-like people. They seem very entrepreneurial. Volus seem to own a lot of the shops and things like that, and they have varied personalities for sure. Lots of them seem to not like humans too much, though. So that is all of the Mass Effect catch-up. That's actually more than I thought, but much faster than watching, like I said, 20 hours of VODs or something like that. So let's switch gears really quick. We'll finish this off with Darkest Dungeon and some stream information. So, not a lot to go over in Darkest Dungeon. We are still doing Deathless Blood Moon. So it is the hardest difficulty in the game, and we are doing every single boss. Usually you don't have to kill every boss to beat Darkest Dungeon, but we're doing them all. Why not? And we're trying to do it with 0 deaths. So far, we have only started over once, but that was at the very beginning, and I was trying to go a little bit too gung-ho. This week, though, we finished all the veteran bosses aside from the Flesh. We still need to beat one more dungeon in the Warrens to unlock the Flesh, and then we will do Veteran Flesh. I'm planning on using Triple Houndmaster because I love Triple Houndmaster. It's very good against the Flesh, so that'll be coming up on the next Darkest Dungeon stream. We also beat the Baron in a single invitation. So we did the entire epic length Baron map and killed the Baron, one invite, one shot, which was pretty awesome. We, I believe, used Hellion, Houndmaster, Jester, Vestal. Sounds right. Sounds right. But you can check the VODs or look at some of the clips if you'd like. We did start Champion Dungeons, and we've had a couple of death's doors. Almost had a heart attack when a giant tree branch smacked down someone for 56 crit death's door. But no one's died, so I'm happy with that. Future Darkest Dungeon, we are going to continue the Zero Death, the Deathless Blood Moon. Next is the Flesh, the Veteran Flesh. And then we move on to the Viscount and all Champion Dungeons. So that's what you can look forward to late in this week. So that was pretty much it with Mass Effect and Darkest Dungeon. I don't want to go over too much with the stream-specific stuff. More emotes are coming. I know I've said that. We've had really bad luck with pixel art. So I'm probably going to switch over to a more traditional route. And that'll be a lot easier to get. So I'm working on that. We did get a very small sponsorship with Cooler Master, which is awesome. They provided me a keyboard and mouse, which I'm trying out now, and I'll tell you guys how it is. But if you're viewing this before September 9th, make sure you stop by the channel and type !CM or !Cooler Master for a way to enter to win Cooler Master. Well, you'll see, but a lot of Cooler Master gear, including a computer case and some peripherals and stuff. What else is there? Poll for the next game after Mass Effect is up! !Poll in the channel on Twitch, or you can always check the Discord. Check the Discord for the Cooler Master thing as well. We also got Gifted War of the Chosen, which is the expansion to XCOM 2, so that is on the poll. I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching the recap. If you have any questions about it, feedback, comments, let me know. I know I went a little long-winded, but pretty much always do. But I feel like this is the best way to catch you guys up on what has happened and, keep myself current on it as well. So let me know if you enjoyed the recap. If you want me to keep doing these, it's much quicker than writing one out. And, if I do them every Sunday, they're not always going to be this long. They're not always going to be 30 or 40 minutes. Hopefully we can cut them down to 10 or 15, depending on what happened in that stream week. But anyway, you guys, thank you for watching as always, and I will see you on the stream Monday through Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.